Welcome to Lauren's Baking. Today we're going to make cake pops. Your ingredients will be half cup vegetable oil, 1 cup of boiling water, 1 cup of milk, 2 teaspoons vanilla, 2 eggs, 1 3/4 cup all-purpose flour, 1 1/2 teaspoons baking soda, 1 1/2 teaspoons baking powder, half teaspoon salt, 3/4 cup cocoa, and 2 cups sugar. First, you're going to heat your oven to 350 degrees. You grease your pan. You can grease 2 9-inch or 13 by 9 by 2 inch. And you're going to sift together the sugar, the cocoa, the salt, the baking powder, the baking soda, and the flour. Our dry ingredients sifted. Now we're going to add our 2 eggs. We're going to mix our eggs in. Okay, and then we're going to mix our vanilla in. Next, we're going to mix our 1 cup of milk at 2 additions. Right, and now we're going to add our half cup of vegetable oil. sure to scrape the sides of the bowl. Then you're going to get 1 cup of boiling water. Make sure your oil and all your eggs and all your milk and vanilla are thoroughly mixed, and then you're going to add in your 1 cup of boiling water. I'm going to do it 2 additions. And the batter will be thin. It's not going to be thick. And then you're going to add in your second. Alright. You're going to pour your batter into your prepared pans. And you're going to bake at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes. Our cake is going to be ready in 5 seconds. You're going to let it cool on a cooling grid or a wire rack for 10 minutes. Alright. What you're going to need for your decorating your cake pops, and as you can see, our cake is cooling on the cooling grid. What you're going to need is some candy melts. You can use chocolate chips, but these are by Wilton. They're candy melts. I'm using cocoa, the white, and the confetti color bright ones. You're going to need some lollipop sticks. These are also by Wilton. And I estimate this is a 150 pack, but you're probably not going to need all of them. Depends on how big your cake is and what recipe you're using. So, about, I estimate 20 to 60, around there. Some Ziploc bags or pastry bags. These are Wilton pastry bags. If you don't have a pastry bag, just take a few Wilton or Ziploc bags. And then food coloring. If you want to color your white candy melts, use candy colors. You can't use icing colors, only candy colors. And this comes with yellow, orange, red, and blue. So only candy colors. An ice cream scoop, so all your cake pops are the same size. A can of frosting. Or if you don't want a can of frosting, you can make your own homemade frosting. I'm using chocolate for chocolate cake, but it's up to you. These are the white candy melts and our chocolate candy melts. They're like squished chocolate chips, basically. And sprinkles. This is peppermint. You can buy them in little bottles if you're lucky, Peppermint Crunch. Or you can just take a Ziploc bag, put some candy canes in there, and knock them with a rolling pin, and you can get... Or if you want powder, then you can put them in the food processor or a blender. And then these are colored sugars. They're sanding sugars also. And if you don't have sanding sugars, you can make your own. I actually made these. You can put granulated sugar or coarse sugar in a Ziploc bag, put some food coloring and shake it, and you have your own colored sugar. These are colored sprinkles, rainbow sprinkles, also known as colored jimmies. So we're going to need those. And the last, and I'm going to color some of mine with my candy colors to drizzle on top. So a bowl and some plastic spoons. And our last thing is a cookie sheet with wax paper or parchment paper to put your cake pops on after they're done. And action. Our cake has been cooling, and it's fully cooled now, so I'm going to cut this in half, or it doesn't really have to be half. How much you want of it. And you can rip it, tear it, it doesn't really matter. And you're just going to put it in a bowl. If you prefer not to use your hands, then you can use rubber disposable gloves. Half of it, 1/4 of it maybe in our bowl. And I'm going to take my can of frosting, or you can make your own, but I think it's quicker just to use the store-bought. And if you can whip this with a mixer to get twice as much as you have in the can. What you're going to do is take about 1 spoonful at a time. You can use a little more than that. But make sure not to put too much in there. Also, you are not going to have, you're going to have really loose cake pops. And this chocolate cake, I like using chocolate cake because it's already moist. So, and like I said, you can use your gloves if you really want to. But this chocolate cake doesn't need much because it's already really, really, really moist. The test is to see if it's ready. So you take a little, put it in your hands, and if it stays like that, then you're good. Now I'm just going to go wash my hands. So you really don't need much frosting with this recipe. So you're just going to kind of pack it down so then all the air is out. Then again, you don't have to use chocolate frosting. You can use vanilla, whatever flavor you would like. Now what you're going to do is I have an ice cream scoop here. And I like using an ice cream scoop, so then all my cake pops come out the same size. I'm not going to use the full thing of this. In this ice cream scoop, you just press it. Actually, I'm going to add just a teensy bit more frosting. Because it does hold together, but for able to be a little bit stiff, you're going to need a little bit more frosting. And soon you'll kind of notice that it sticks together, or sticks to your spatula, and that's kind of when it's getting clumpy and it's ready to be a cake pop. I'm just going to scrape down my spatula on the side of the bowl. Alright, now I'm taking my ice cream scoop. I'm going to take a little. I'm just going to put it in my hand and make it into a ball shape. I'm just going to stick this on my parchment paper or wax paper lined cookie sheet. And you're going to keep doing this with all your balls until all of them are basically the same size and they're all rolled out. And yeah. My second one, and I'll do one more for you guys. Put a little bit more there. And your balls don't have to be perfect, but you can always fix them later if you really want. Alright. I am going to melt my candy melts, and you can do it on the stovetop or in a little saucepan. I'm using cocoa and white. And I'm going to put these in the microwave. I prefer the microwave because it's a lot faster. And you can put them on 50% power, or if you don't have 50% power, just do it in 15-minute or 15-second additions until they're smooth. Sometimes they look like they're not melted, but stir them because they're mushy, but they're not completely melted. So just keep stirring them until you get your smooth stuff. So I will be back when these are melted. Alright, our cake balls have been formed, and I have about 12 to 24 maybe. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your cake pop stick or lollipop stick, and you're going to dip it in your melted candy melts. I ended up melting mine in my microwave for maybe 45 minutes for each, and they come out really smooth. And this is about 15 candy melts. So you can dip it in whatever color you want. I'll start with chocolate. And you dip it, not that much, just about there. Take a cake pop, anyone, and stick it in. And you'll have a little ring form around your stick, which is okay. That's going to cool. And you're going to keep doing these for all of them. I can do 2 more for you. Right. Alright, I will come back when all these are sticked. Alright, I've sticked all these and I've done them with candy melts. And to ensure that the stick stays in your cake pop when you're dipping it, we will put these in the freezer so then your candy melt can dry and harden. It doesn't take that long to dry, so it only takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So, and you can put them in the freezer and they should harden up. So, now we have some white candy melts. And I've already melted them, so they're pretty, same thing, melted the same amount of time for the chocolate. And this is white candy melts. And what you're going to do is you can take about, it depends on what you're going to do. I'm going to use this for a technique that I'm going to show you to decorate your cake pops. So I'm taking about 1 spoonful and putting it in a little bowl. And when I showed you guys the ingredients the other day, I showed you these food coloring. You can only use the candy colors, not the icing colors. Also, your candy melts will separate, and I don't think we want that. So we're going to use these. These comes with blue, red, yellow, and orange. And in this case, I'm going to use orange and blue. So these have what you do. Let's use it like this. Some's dripping down, but you just take a little bit. This is a lot more runny than regular food coloring. Just take a teeny bit so it just coats the bottom of your spoon. And you can mix it in to your candy melts. And you'll see as you mix, your white candy melts will now turn, in this case, orange. But you can do any color of candy food coloring you would like. And you just keep coloring so you get your desired color. And if you would like a darker orange, then you can wipe off your spoon with the spatula and scrape it on the side and get more orange food coloring. But I think this is good for our orange. I'm going to do the same thing with the blue. And it is pretty runny, so just be aware that it's going to be a little more runnier than like the gel or your just regular food coloring you use. Now I'm going to mix in the blue with our white. Then again, you can do as much as you want so it can turn to your desired color. But I think this is pretty good for what I'm doing. And so I am going, and make sure to keep stirring your candy melts because they will harden if you don't keep stirring them. And I'm going to put my cake pops in the freezer, and we will come back and we will start dipping our cake pops. Alright, these have been chilling in the freezer, so they're about stiff. And our cake balls are going to be a little cold, but they shouldn't be too cold. And your ring is still, so you can tell they're cold. You can put your finger up to the ring, and if it doesn't make an impression in it, or it doesn't push down on it, then they're ready. And if you do not want your bottom to be flat, then you can stick them in styrofoam, so then your bottom won't be flat. Now we're going to dip. I have melted a little more white candy melts, so I could have a little more to dip in. And I haven't melted any more of my chocolate yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a cake pop, any one, doesn't matter. And it doesn't have to be the color of your ring, but I like to be the color of the ring, so in case it doesn't fill up to the ring, it'll still blend in. So I'm going to put chocolate on this one. You can dip it in, but make sure your cup is big enough lengthwise. But sometimes it's a lot easier. You just spoon it over top and it should drip down. This isn't exactly a neat way, but it's a lot easier. See, and you can go up to the ring, so it doesn't matter what color you really are. You're just kind of going to twirl it to get all the excess off. Just twirl it around so then all the excess stays on the cake pop. It does get messy at times, but then you're going to take your cake pop and you're going to stick it down. But while you stick it down, we have sprinkles that you can use. I'm going to use peppermint on this one, but you can use anything you really want. You can also dip it in, but I am just going to take it and sprinkle some peppermint on. The little crushed up pieces stick better. This is why you do it right away, so then they stick. So there's one cake pop. I'm going to do a few more for you to see, and I'm going to do the same thing with the white. Oops, a little chocolate got in there, but that's okay. So I'm just going to try dipping this one. Yeah. If it looks kind of uneven, just scrape the excess off. Doesn't matter if it doesn't look good. You can also dip it in. These are multicolored jimmies, so I'm just going to sprinkle on. Make sure to do it over the bowl so you're not wasting any sprinkles. Uh-oh. That's okay though. All you do is like that. Just bring it over and place it down. Then pick another one. Do the same exact thing. Except I'm going to show you a different technique for this one. I'm going to use white. And sometimes your stick does get a little messed up. So all you do is keep that ring on, just put a little more on and dip it back in. And if your cake pop does break, that's okay. Like this one broke, but you just set it down, get a new one. I'm going to show you a new technique for dipping them. Don't be afraid to use a lot of candy melt, because that's how your cake pops basically get coated. It's candy melts. So what I gotta do is gonna place that down. It does get a little hard sometimes. I'm gonna take your bag. This I have filled with my candy melts that I melted and colored with candy color and coloring. I'm just gonna snip the corner in the bag. If it's too hard, then it'll, like this is a little too hard. So I'm gonna microwave it and I will be back. Alright, I've microwaved these again so they're a little bit softer and easier to use. I'm just going to cut off the tip. And notice I did put it in a new plastic bag. I didn't. You can just do dots or you can just drizzle. And it still looks good even if your cake pops are kind of broken. You don't have to be really good at it. But and another thing you can do with it, just take just a teeny bit, and you can put it on while they're standing, so then the bottom doesn't have any on there. And you could do stripes if you wanted. I can show you how. It's really easy. Get a good, nice, sturdy one. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna cover the bottom of and just spin it. It's okay if it drips down, but try to keep it at the bottom. And now what you can do is you can just carefully dip it in some sugar and you have yourself just a little mini one. I like those the best because they are the easiest. You don't have to dip the whole cake pop. They're way easier than having it fall off. And they basically cover the whole cake pop, basically, if you really wanted to. You're gonna keep doing it for all yours. And you can also use a pastry bag for the drizzling. I'm just using a plastic bag to show that you don't really need a pastry bag. Right. Now, cool thing about this is you can go like this also. And it will mix in with it. I can grab some orange sprinkles, and you have yourself a tie-dye cake pop. And you can dip all your cake pops, and you can use all your cake. For smoother cake pops, don't use the rim of the cake, and you will have smoother cake pops. And thanks for watching, and see you later on Lauren's Lone Tree Bakery. And enjoy!